humankind has contemplated the Earth. During the last few years, the impossible has been achieved. Viewing our own planet from space has turned science fiction into fact.
Tower's gone. Roger, Tower. Yeah, Houston, Apollo 11 and Saturn gave us a magnificent ride. Roger.
Not long after man first walked on the moon, another science fiction became alarmingly true. A dangerous hole appeared in the ozone layer. High in the atmosphere, the layer of gas encircling the world makes life on the planet possible. But over 2 decades ago, scientists discovered this ozone layer was thinning, allowing the sun's harmful ultraviolet radiation to pass through. It was damaging plankton and crops. People too were exposed to increased risk of eye cataracts, lowered immune systems and skin cancer. Suddenly, a healthy tan seemed less attractive. It was here in Antarctica in 1984 where the first alarming evidence emerged. The ozone layer over the South Pole had reduced by 50%.
Hey, beautiful.
Teams of scientists discovered that chemicals such as chlorofluorocarbons, or CFCs, damage ozone molecules when sunlight causes chlorine in the compound to break away. In turn, this destroys the ozone molecules. Problem was, CFCs and other ozone-depleting substances, or ODSs, were widespread. Though the aerosols industry had already begun to find alternatives, without concrete evidence, other industries were reluctant to change.
When you talk ozone, when you talk global warming, the public, your viewers, are not seeing anything. What is this fellow or this organization talking about?
Mostafa Tolba of UNEP was determined to address the problem. After years of negotiation, on the 16th of September 1987, the Montreal Protocol on Substances that Deplete the Ozone Layer was born. 24 nations finally signed. It wasn't easy. The delegates were locked in a room until they agreed.
Montreal Protocol is a landmark document.
This landmark document was one of the first international treaties to be based on the precautionary principle. Industries were forced by law to reduce production of these chemicals. Aerosols, foam, refrigeration units the world over have been adapted. This, even though the damage they cause had not been conclusively proven. The achievements have been remarkable. By 2005, all the parties to the protocol combined had reduced production of ozone-depleting substances by 95%. And the depletion of the ozone layer is levelling off. The future is safer for all of us. This has been achieved through unprecedented global cooperation. Today there are 191 parties to the treaty. To coordinate this huge operation, a special secretariat was established. The international community has achieved significant results. CFCs have already been phased out in the developed world. developing nations have been given a little longer, until 2010. Remarkably, most developing countries are well ahead of this schedule. For example, China, which was the world's largest producer and consumer of CFCs and halons, has achieved total phase-out of production in 2007. The developing countries benefit from the Multilateral Fund. This funding comes from the developed world and is managed by an executive committee and handled through fund-supported national ozone units in each country. Over the years, it has provided over $2 billion for ODS phase-out activities in developing countries. Though non-compliance is taken very seriously, it was also understood that phase-out is not a case of one size fits all. There are several substances controlled under the treaty, which include CFCs, halons, carbon tetrachloride, methyl chloroform and hydrochlorofluorocarbons, or HCFCs. Methyl bromide is also on the list, but the treaty recognises that exemptions might be necessary. So some uses of this agricultural and commodity pesticide are being exempted if no feasible alternatives exist. Expert teams regularly look at the science, technology, economics and environmental effects of ozone depletion. The Montreal Protocol has been adjusted and strengthened several times based on the advice from these assessment panels. This flexibility keeps the treaty relevant for today, every day. This is vital. The ozone hole still exists and is not recovering as fast as predicted. Over the Antarctic, ozone recovery is now expected around 2065. So there is still work to be done. In fact, the latest scientific assessment warns that failure to comply with the Montreal Protocol could delay or even prevent recovery of the ozone layer. The good news is that the treaty can once again adapt to meet new challenges. Since the ozone-depleting substances being phased out also contribute to global warming, the treaty remains extremely important in tackling climate change. For this reason, the present get-together of 191 countries is no ordinary talking shop. On its 20th anniversary, the Montreal Protocol is arguably the most successful environmental treaty to date. It is a shining example of international cooperation at its best. The lessons learned from the Montreal Protocol can help pave the way in tackling the pressing issues facing our planet today. The future of this tiny pretty pea is in our hands.